Boa tarde, gente. Welcome to our latest in series of distance learning / online capoeira / we're starting to get back to some kind of normal. Last class, we worked on the fundamentals of capoeira and we started with capoeira regional. Today, we move across the street to visit capoeira Angola. Pardon my redirection of camera, but I'm trying to get rid of that big old light in the back of my screen, but I don't think I can get away from it without changing my angle completely. So, for Capoeira Angola, our bateria is different. In Capoeira Regional, birimbau, dois pandeiros. Mestre Bimba called that the charanga. In Capoeira Angola, we don't know what the bateria looks like because no one wrote down the rules, the regulations, the traditions, the methodology of Capoeira Angola. That means the Capoeira Angola bateria can be whatever the mestre of that group wants it to be. My mestre, when I began training capoeira, is Mestre Cigano, who is from Botafogo in Rio and currently lives in Arraial de Ajuda in Porto Seguro. He partnered with Mestre Norival Moreira de Oliveira from Angola Palmares. And so in our group, Liberdade dos Palmares, we would use 3 birimbaus, 2 pandeiros, 1 agogô, 1 reco-reco, and the atabaque. Other groups use some of those instruments, not all of those instruments. And then if they do use those instruments, to get them to agree, the order of those instruments is never going to happen. And so Capoeira Angola, you cannot tell someone in Angola that their bateria is incorrect. It is correct for the way that they do it. And so I'll introduce you to some of those instruments. Birimbau we will come to momentarily, but we'll start with what is usually at the end of the bateria, and that is the agogô. Agogô is manifested in 2 ways. There is the agogô de aço from iron, usually played this way, unless the game is intense. Not about the speed that you play your agogô, it's which note you hit first. If you hit the deeper note first, then the higher note, and then the deeper note, you have more deep than high notes, which means your game tends to be more relaxed. If you have more higher notes than deeper notes, it doesn't matter your speed, it still makes the intensity feel a bit higher. Now, some Angola groups, they don't use that type of agogô, they use a different type of agogô. They use one that is made from a coconut shell. And so the agogô de coconut, very similar in 2 different tones that come from it, but it's a different thing. And so, pandeiro. Oh, I said I was going to start at the end, and I didn't. Traditionally, on the end of the bench is reco-reco. Reco-reco, which I would love for somebody to find a really good translation for reco-reco. In our group, we always called it the scrapey thing. And so, me being a child of the 80s, as in teenager in the 80s. I wish I was like a child in the 80s. However, I grew up in hip hop and the TR-808, 2 turntables and a mic. And so this, to me, was my favorite instrument in capoeira because it sounded like the record scratching and a DJ just going at it. And it can be the simple 3, or you can do what you want with reco-reco. And so reco-reco is usually on the end, followed by agogô, and then usually pandeiro. And so in our group, we had the pandeiros, one on either side of the 3 birimbaus. Some people put them together, but pandeiros, as we learned a few classes ago, are different types. So the synthetic ones are usually used for samba. This type of pandeiro, which is wood, it's got a good amount of weight to it and a good tone to it, is used in Angola. And the lighter, thinner wooden pandeiros are normally used in Capoeira Regional. And so our pandeiro, and then birimbau. As we talked about in regional class, birimbau in regional is thinner, shorter, lighter than a traditional Angola birimbau. It is usually ending the pedo birimbau in a point rather than in a round or square shape. And so the varnish in a regional birimbau is usually the recipe made by Mestre Bimba. And so the regional birimbau that we use in our academy was given to us by Mestre Nenel, the son of Mestre Bimba. My very first birimbau was given to me by Mestre Curio, who was an Angolero. Sadly, that was back in the 90s, and at that time, I did not understand the value of an instrument given to you by a famous mestre, because I didn't know any better, and I don't have that birimbau or cabasa anymore today. It was signed by him. It was a wonderful thing, but I did not treat it well. The next birimbau that I got was given to me by Mestre Americano. And I still have that birimbau. It hangs here in our academy in the office because it has so much sentimental value to me. It was when I finally understood the value of the mestre in capoeira and what they give to you. This cabasa was given to me by Mestre René. Mestre René is a student of Mestre Paulo dos Anjos. He teaches in 2 de Julho in Salvador, Bahia, an amazing Angolero. His daughter, Mestre Cris, teaches here in the US. And so the birimbau in Angola. We usually start Angola with what is called ladainha, which is the opening song, followed by either a corrido, a run-on, or a chula, which is very, very short. Ladainhas end with the cante de entrada, the yeah, viva, and we repeat that back before we get to corrido or to chula. Preferimos seu cair e volta dentro da secretária para dar depoimento daquilo que não sabia. Minha mãe tinha 3 filhos, eu era o mais sossegado. Saía a boca da noite, chegava de madrugada. Na roda da capoeira nunca deu meu golpe. Viva meu Deus, viva meu Deus, camarada. Estava lá em casa. I was in the house. That's very appropriate today because some of you have been stuck in your house for far too long and it's time to come out. And so today we are joined by some amazing people who decided to come out of their house and hang out with us. And so all the way from the southern part of New Jersey, the Cidade Atlântico, comes contra Mestre Graveto from South Capoeira. He's flying on screen!
South people, what's happening?
And so today we are working on fundamentals of Capoeira Angola. And so what we'll do is put on some Angola music, do some Angola movimentos, and have a good time. And maybe what we'll do is just see what this guy, maybe we'll just change the whole lesson plan and be like, yo, what you gonna do? I mean, because like whenever the teacher comes to the place, you just give it to him. Like, yo, it's your, here you go, here the keys. Hey, you want the keys to the car? All right, yeah! Oh, you ain't got no license? Oh.
No, officer, sorry.
That's all right, that's all right.
Don't kill me.
That's all right. Então, vamos embora, we do our transition. I'm gonna move this stuff, put on the music, and then we get to going.
Hey, Mestre.
Inayas in the house. Jaguars in the house. We're gonna warm up with some ginga. Today's music comes from Mestre Tina Shea, who's an alumno of Mestre Sombra from Senzala dos Santos. He's got a beautiful voice and a really nice flow with his music. And so we're all just gonna feel it. Remember they say on the islands, who feels it knows it. Feel it, know it. As we sing, I'm just gonna tip this camera forward so we can get the view of the feet. This beautiful footwork that's going on back here. Look at this. Keep it going, machine guy. Negaça em capoeira Angola can be alta, médio or baixo. Many groups call it esquiva. Some Angoleros, though, call negaça when you do multiple esquivas. 1, 2, 3, and so forth. But in traditional capoeira Angola, negaça was another word for esquiva. So we're going to find our negaças here. I don't know how stiff we are yet. We'll see whether our negaça will be alto, médio, or baixo. At home, find your own negaça. So we're not going together because we're just going to go. So when we're ready, we're going to just start the negaça. Yes, so much yes, sabe jogar we're going to add a second negaça. So after our first negaça, we'll do a second one. Por exemplo, direita, esquerda e ginga. Same thing at home. Whenever you're ready, you go from one side to the other. Find a flow in your transition. We're progressing from our dois negaças to três. So in três, you have the option now of putting the manjinga into your movements. And so the angoleros, they sometimes look like they're picking something up from the floor in the middle of their negaça. And so find the molejo do corpo para vocês. Move your body as you negaça. Find how you want to move. Just don't be stiff. Now that we're warm and we're feeling good, we just want to adjust our ginga a little bit. And so rather than staying in the same place facing the same way, we're going to stay in the same place, but we're going to be facing in different directions. And so we want to move our ginga, stagger our ginga, turn our ginga. We'll be in the same place, just not always looking at you, because our partner isn't always looking the same way in capoeira. So now from our ginga, we want to start to use our arms. We'll do that negaça, and we'll get one hand onto the floor, turn into our negativa and leg. This will start to engage the arm muscles to get them ready for what is coming next. So for example, when we get here, get to the floor, turn and roll up. Esquiva negativa leg. That's what most people call this. Negaça, negativa, leg is what it can be called. Some people would just say, move, get out the way. you like. If you would like to go esquiva to one side and then back into negativa, that's fine. As long as your hand gets to the floor to start to work the muscle, that's all we care about right now. So remember, that was to get our arms warmed up. They're warm now. Legs feel good. We're going to go into the base for our. So again, we're not going anywhere, but we're going to look like we are. And so I'm going to look like I'm going someplace, but I didn't. Then on the other side, I look like I'm going someplace, but I don't. Base for our. For you advanced capoeiristas, turn it into a planta, all the way up. Choose your level for this movement. A lua tá cheia, a lua tá cheia. A lua tá cheia, a lua tá cheia. Now that your arms are ready to go, we're going to do au fechado or au de Angola. I got to move just a little bit, but not very far. I got to keep my eye tight, close my body. Same place though, no traveling. Desce maré, sobe maré, desce maré, sobe maré, sobe, desce. Vou pra ilha de maré, vou pra ilha de maré. Boom! Your next au is au com passo. Au com passo is like the kick, meia lua de compasso, put together with an au. Again, not traveling, because what I'm trying to do is kick the person in front of me. My legs are going to stay straight as I do my au, kicking the person in front of me. Stay in your space. Kick, kick. Vou pra ele a maré, vou pra ele a maré, sobe maré, desce maré, sobe maré, desce maré, desce maré, desce maré, sobe maré. Bonito! Combination of arms and legs, using that movement. Jahaya. Which Angoleros call Jahaya? Most people call meia lua de compasso. We're going to, in our ginga, base, parou, turn, push the hip to the front, and whip the heel to the back base. As you do this, try to keep looking forward, come up and guard, don't come up and get knocked out. Ginga, whenever you're ready, you pause your ginga, push the hip, swing, come up and guard. Vou pra ilha de maré, 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 vou pra ilha de maré. So the apu that we did in the beginning where we stopped with the kick concept. So now, when I stop in Jinga base, and when I turn my hip, I'm not swinging my foot around, I'm swinging it straight up, which means I need to rotate completely in these hips so that I can bring that heel up and around. So from Jinga, I stop, turn and come up, bringing the heel to the person's chin, straight up. Have fun with that, but don't go anywhere. Okay, let's quickly review, because we got to get it all together. So, esquiva negativa ole, or negasa negativa ole. So we remember this, we remember this, we remember this. Don't forget that. We remember Habujahaya, or Meamuji Kompasu. Don't forget that. Now it's this. We remember turning, catching the jaw, and coming down. Because now your partner here is going to begin the movement. If they swing the pad at your head, that means you should get your head out of the way. And then how do you get up? Esquiva negativo ole. If they hold the pad to the side, they want you to Habujahaya. If they hold the pad turn, they want you to come straight up. Come introduce yourself to the audience. At home, either work the movements or watch and see what they're doing here. Virimba com seu Valdemar. ustedes en casa, for you at home, follow the music. The music is not going 397 beats per minute. Don't move that fast. Move to the music. Shinga, breathe through your movements. Take your time. When a kick comes, you have the time to move that it takes that kick to get to you. So you escape at the speed of the kick. The kick is fast, you go fast. The kick is slow, you go slow. Go with. Capoeira is a conversation between people. Entre nos. Don't run away from the conversation. Stay for a while. Have a chat. Okay, so what I'm gonna say is we're gonna add in more options. Same concepts of putting your head, put it here, put it here. So put the pad someplace. You put it there. I can do that. Or I can do that. Or I can do that. If you turn it the other way, well, you can stick with that kick or shoot the lua, or don't forget, I'm going to share stuff. I can use a Haitian kick. Shoot it up. Whatever you want to do for that guy gets turned. Now, if he swings, I can just move this way. That's the Shiva. Oh! Keep on. Come on. At home, move around a bit more. Add some more kicks. Try to flow. Find the molejo do corpo, the smoothness, the swing of your body. So now, instead of swinging the pad at you, they will swing them at you. They'll still give you a target to strike back, but if we're playing now, thank you very much. Okay? You can still swing the pad if you want. Yo, but you dance inside. If you can't hit the pad, you're too far away. want you to do. Yeah. Now get all those beautiful moves on the floor. Now look at the partner. Yes. You must keep your eyes on your partner. The floor is not going to kick you. The floor is your friend. It will always catch you if you fall. So now you're ready. We feel warmed up and good. We don't need the pads anymore. What we need is just our partner. And so our partner is going to do the same kicks that they've been doing. The mealuas, the quixadas, the aguadas. I'm going to escape from those kicks. But every now and then, I want to discover my partner's weakness. I want to see if I can find a point for either banda or astera, as one of the lives call it. Maybe it's going to be astera or show, or chifa. So my partner kicks. I'm going to do my regular skits, waiting for that moment. Oh, she was waiting too. Okay, she's training me. She's letting me know if I want it, I have to do better. Wait, I thought she was going to switch again. She didn't do it. Hey, have fun with your partner. At home, you are doing your kicks and your escapes and throwing in banda or rasteira or vingativas. Think about it all. Water break.
I need ice.
Quiz questions for the people at home. If Mestre Bimber is the criador da capoeira regional, Mestre Bimber, Manuel dos Reis Machado, creator of capoeira regional, luta regional da Bahia. Who is the creator of capoeira Angola? Think about that one. And then, if you were here at the beginning of class, you already know the answer. We have no one who is the criador da capoeira Angola. Capoeira was created by those enslaved peoples in Brazil, in the senzalas and the plantations, as a means of resistance and rebellion. It was trained and practiced in the quilombos, the most famous quilombo being the Quilombo dos Palmares. The leader was Ganga Zumba and his son Zumbi dos Palmares, the wife Dandara. And so from those origins in the senzala to the quilombos, and then in the time when the slavery was abolished, we come into the academy period. After capoeira was illegal, it was made legal by Mestre Bimba's curriculum presented to the Brazilian government. And so after Luta Regional da Bahia, we have the birth of Capoeira Angola. But the good argument is prior to Luta Regional da Bahia, it was Capoeira Angola. It was a continuation of that style. Some scholars argue that the style changed when Regional was born. It was made more traditional to try and preserve those early roots, those early rituals. Thus, we have the chamadas de bênção, which has the passagem de dois, the passage of the two people. And so history is the thing that we need to hold on to as capoeiristas. It's amazing that you guys come to class and that you do these movements. It's even better that you learn to play the instruments and sing the songs. But your teachers would be so happy if you would actually read whatever good capoeira books you can get your hands on, and whatever old guarda, the velho guard, the old guard mestres are giving workshops or lectures or a documentary somewhere. If you can get your hands on that and watch that, that is how you can become a really well-rounded capoeirista. Know the movements and know why we're doing those movements. Know when to do those movements. Know the music, what it's asking you for. Not every rhythm is kick somebody in the face rhythm. There are rhythms for that. However, you want to kick somebody in the face when the beat and bow asks you to, not when you want to. Know your history, know all of capoeira. Don't just come to capoeira and flip around the room. That's gymnastics. Capoeira is this beautiful Afro-Brazilian martial art, which is disguised as a dance. So we're going to continue by throwing in some acrobacias. Many people believe that there are no acrobatics in capoeira. Acrobatics have a purpose. One of the purposes in capoeira is to show off. Look what I can do. That's a great reason for acrobacias. Another is to confuse your partner. The meia lua de compasso can be considered an acrobatic kick because your hands are going down to the floor. We did an acrobatic kick in this class, the au compasso. And that's the one that we're going to start using right now with our partner, is the au compasso. So we're going to ginga, and somebody's going to throw their feet, starting slowly at our heads, so that we can negaça or esquiva out of the way. And then as they become more confident in the movement, they're going to throw that au compasso faster. So at home, what you want to do is you have options. You can throw your au compassos, or you can watch one of the pairs, and when one of them does the au compasso, you can see if you would have gotten out of the way in time, or if you would have gotten kicked in your eye. All right, so we're going to come back to ginga e au compasso. There La la la, la la la, la la la, la la. This one's gonna get you. Are you doing it right? Straight, try to kick Now, you want to become more aggressive. You throw your hands there, there. So your hands here, now there. That way your body becomes ball. Yeah. When last we met, I kicked you in the face. I'm going to kick you in the face again. I will not kick you again. It's okay. It's not today back. So now, what we're going to work on is the manjinga in capoeira, the trickery and the playfulness. So my partner's job is to just do out. Just out. That's your job. Just out. Just out. What I'm looking for is that right there. Keep doing your hours. What I'm looking for, I'm studying that right there. Because what I want, when you do your hours, that. I want to sweep out his foot. So what I'm not doing is sweeping. But if you notice, all I did is I got in position. I'm not taking it. I'm not taking it. Because he's not ready. He's not ready. And I'm getting my, I didn't do that. All I'm doing is trying to learn where the sweep should be. Okay? So take your time, study the landing, come in, eventually come in. Au, hasteia.
Ai, ai, ai.
Ai, 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 essa vento, bicha. First, put the toes down is what you want. Okay. Yes, the direction is happening. You out. Wrong way. Take it in the direction that he's going. Yeah. sorry, but it's really hard for you to train this one. But you can. You can watch this group right here, and when you see the foot coming down, put yourself in position for hashtera. Remembering at home, the same as they're remembering here, the direction of your hashtera. You want to sweep in the direction that the body is traveling in. That's where the momentum is going. Don't sweep the opposite way. The foot will be planted that way and down. You don't want that sweep. You want to sweep with the body. Okay, so I learned something this week. And so I learned that in that cage fighting thing that Dana, whatever his name is, runs, that in a fight, if one fighter has a hand on the floor, is touching the floor, I can't kick him in the head, which is this amazing rule, which makes no sense in fighting. But in Capoeira, we have a similar rule, and it's the rule of equality. And so if he has a hand on the floor, I can still kick him in the head. I just need to have a hand on the floor as well. So if he went to that negativa and I saw that he was gonna ole that way, I could just meet him in his ole. My hands are on the floor, which means I'm allowed to kick him in his face. And so you are going to set up a kick for your partner. So your job again is owl. And so you're just doing your owls. And I remember that if his hands are down, I can't football kick him. I can't do that. But if his hands are down, I can do that. So you're not kicking, you're setting up your kicks. Okay? The kick can be in two varieties. It could be that straight through, or it could be the prettier version. Whatever you would like to do, just don't actually make contact with your partner. Fine. Yeah. At home, you can do this one. When you see someone going for owl here on the floor, come in like a meia lua de compasso and push your foot, chapa de costas, or in the bênção position. Your choice. But try and get your timing so that when their hand goes, your hands go. Ah, you switch space, huh? Yeah. That's why you let me go first. He was like, hey, he said I can kick him in the face. Position and pushing. Yeah, pushing. Oh, that's it. As soon as I see you go, I have nothing to lose. Let's see. Now, so I'm okay. That's not advantage over me. Sorry. That's fine. His stock is out somewhere. Try to find the foot. Let's see. Try and stop. You're out. And take out my face. You're starting out. Getting out. No, I got everything good. Okay. So as soon as you see, that's what you're going. Better. Okay. Ave Maria, meu Deus, nunca vi casa nova. Ave Maria, meu Deus, nunca vi casa nova. All right, we're going to play. We have 10 minutes on the clock. I want to thank Jaguar, Traçoeiro, Imanhá, and Contramestre Graveto for joining us today. We'll be back here again on Friday. We just need you to come too. Come through. Adeus, adeus. Boa viagem.